back, all of you Total Legends, to another episode of
Takara versus KO.
Today we're comparing the much talked about KO Sunstreaker with the official. Now a lot of you may have noticed that this KO has been quite expensive for a Autobot car bot, pretty much. It's about $60-70 Australian, I think I got mine for. That is pretty much half of the official, but yeah, it's nah. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but first let's take a good look at the boxes, because we do compare the boxes when it comes to KO versus official. So the first tell that I usually look for when I'm looking at a KO box is the official always seems to have a line for the horizon behind the character, and the KOs lately do not. Now there is a noticeable colour difference between the two, but unless you had them side by side, you might not really notice. Another missing component on the KO box is the official has all of this Japanese writing down the bottom. I don't care what it says, whereas the KO does not. And another one, the KO does not have the Lamborghini sticker, and as usual on the official the batch number is stamped in. See the indentation? Whereas on the KO it's been cut in. Can you see that? The backs look exactly the same, so I think that's pretty much it for the differences. Alrighty, so on to the accessories. Alright, so he comes with all of the usual accessories that we expect with Sunstreaker. There are some quality problems, but you know, we'll get to them one at a time. So we'll look at the alien face first. Takara on the right, KO on the left. And you can see there is a noticeable quality difference and a slight colour difference in the masks as well. The KO's eyes are pretty rough. Detail wise, it's pretty good. There's no sprue marks, there's no mould lines, nothing. Got a chip up there as well. Some slight different details on the back. And it fits on his face nice and tightly. But that's pretty much it. Then we have his blasters. Not really anything to complain about, really. Well, it's got a slightly more shinier metallic speckle than the official, and the details on the KO actually look a little bit sharper. A couple of sprue marks, but they're pretty consistent with the Takara. It doesn't look bad, it doesn't look good. It looks like his blaster, so pretty even. Unfortunately though, it doesn't tab in particularly well. It's a little bit loose in the socket. The hands will hold it well enough with friction. A bloody chest piece, we'll talk about that after. But yeah, friction is holding it well enough. When it comes to the faces, there are some noticeable quality differences. As you can see, the KO here on the left isn't as metallic as the official, so it's not as reflective. The colour is still done quite evenly, so it's not too bad. It's just different. Some of the details are a bit softer. You can see the like the bezel in the cheekbone on the official is much sharper and more prominent than on the KO. And when it comes to details, the KO with the black detail in the mouth, it's a little bit messy. And I got some of his mouth on his nose. When it comes to the eyes though, they're done alright, but that's just because they are a blue bit of plastic that's threaded through the back, which I think is a better way of doing it. It's pretty consistent throughout, as you can see. The laughing face, much more noticeable colour difference. I think this is even lighter than the previous face. It's pretty tidy. I'm missing a little bit of black inside the mouth, but apart from that, it's nice and neat. Then when it comes to the screaming face, mine's a little bit of a mess. As you can see, same deal with the change in face colour. I've got some of the black paint all up the front of his lip, and the details are slightly softer. And to swap the faces, I'm just going to tilt his face back, grab his chin, and just peel that off, and then just tab the new face in, and that is a nice and snug fit. Then we have his shin blaster. There isn't too much to say about this. There's no errors or anything. The plastic is quite neat, I guess. It's got a slight sort of gunmetal speckle to it. The pins in the joints are different. They've got hollow ones on the Takara. But apart from that, yeah, it looks fine. This one seems to tab in reasonably well. So it's not the firmest grip, but it's not falling out either. Final accessory we're going to look at is Chip Chase in his wheelchair. The official one wasn't done too great, but at least the paint was quite neat. Not so on the KO. As you can see, the hair is sort of mixed up with the glasses a little bit. Got some nasty mould lines down the sides of the legs, and overall the paint is quite fuzzy. Wheelchair is done well enough though. Couple of sprue marks underneath, but apart from that, yeah, it's fine. I don't really care about this. I'm not too fussed about Chip Chase. Nearly forgot. Also in the box we get what are they? Replacement side mirrors. and his instructions with the collector's card. Alright, well, enough of that and more of this. Alright, now buckle up guys, because it all goes downhill from here. The accessories might have got a pass in quality due to the price, and they were overall pretty good. This, however, mine, looks like trash. I can see 6 different shades of yellow in this. They have tried to cut corners and it hasn't worked. Firstly though, we'll get onto the physical side of things. There is a noticeable weight difference between the official and the knockoff. I'm pretty sure the knockoff still has the same amount of die cast, but I can feel the weight difference. The plastic on this also feels much thinner than the Takara. I'm having a lot of tabbing issues. I know on the official, the doors didn't particularly tab in that well anyway, but at least on mine, it wasn't bad. Like, they're not just flopping around. This one, they're completely out of alignment. They never quite sit right. That one is, surprisingly, actually. It's just this one, alright? It's just the one. And just a reminder, the faults that I'm having with these, I can only go on the one that I have. You might get it and it might be perfect. You might get it and it might be worse. Anyway, I'm also not able to tab these side bits in properly. None of this sits flush. I've tried my best to get all this in, and it's not going in. Right, so the rest of it, so just these sections here and these doors, not so much that one, but this one, are the problem. The rest of it seems quite sturdy. Like if I give it a flop about, look, it's not coming untabbed. If you wanted it as a vehicle, I guess, and you had a dud side like mine, I guess you could just put him on a shelf and show off his good side. So when it comes to the paint, like I said, I'm seeing maybe 6 different shades of yellow on this guy. They've tried to cut corners, right? So they've painted the die cast really, really poorly. So this whole back panel here is die cast. And I've got chips, dirt, hair. There's more chips. There's, what's that? That's some die cast flash on the corner there. It is really, really rough. I got more dirt around the edge, and that looks like it was chewed off the sprue. So that's a rough cut. I've got, so they've painted this side fender here and this whole side panel, but maybe just one tiny little coat. I've got all black spots along there, and I've got scratches in the yellow paint, and they haven't done much of it. See the color difference? Is that coming up? The official Sunstreaker has, like, it looks like 6 layers of paint. I can see where the paint is pooling up in my official, and it's given it like an orangey color, whereas this looks like a very thin yellow plastic color, even though they've put paint on it. On the door handle here, I think that's a door handle. They haven't painted around the door handle, so you can see that thin yellow plastic again. So they've painted most of this panel, but then they've not painted any of these panels. Well, they haven't painted the door. Anyway, you can see the hinge through the door again, and this panel is done quite well. This panel's half done. You can see that the panel itself is painted, but then the fender isn't. So we've got like a yellowy orange part of the fender here, and then it just goes bright yellow all the way around there. Yeah, on the back I got red paint splattered everywhere. The writing is actually really well done. The silver's done pretty good. The silver on the wheels is done excellent. Better details there on the side door, and we've got the little silver lock up there or whatever it is. So they've done the little details, which is good. All of this is painted much better than the other side. This is completely painted, this fender, but look, it is just full of dirt and dust. Can you see all the, I'm not sure if that's coming up or not. There is hundreds of little bumps. There we go, there, see that? The paint is just chock full of dirt. So all of this is clear plastic that they've then painted over. Takara did it, and they did it a little bit messy. It's just the slightest little bit fuzzy. See the fuzz? It's just the way it is. Right, so they've done it, and they've got, yeah, a little bit of fuzz, that's acceptable. A few smears here. I've got more yellow paint. Look, I've got a whole brush stroke right there. More paint there. Paint missing there. You expect it to be rough, but that's just really messy. I got chips here, missing black up there. Yeah, I'm not too happy with how this has turned out. Autobot logo is straight on the vehicle bonnet though, which is good. Chrome, mine came covered in grease. I thought it was all scratched up, but it's just grease. The chrome is done nice. I mean, I got a few bits of dirt and a couple of little pooling bits there, but compared to the rest of it, I'm quite impressed with how the chrome turned out. Got a couple of sprue marks just in there, but yeah, so it visibly it is a mess. Some of it doesn't tab in properly, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not particularly impressed. Not impressed. It does roll, no problemo. Gimmicks are all still the same, like I said. The doors do open and go up, and as does the bonnet. Nearly forgot this. Still has that. And the headlights look good. The clear plastic on the headlights. Alright, so I'm not going to do the transformation. There's heaps of videos on the transformation. It's easy to find. Alright, on to bot mode. Alrighty, there they both are in their bot modes. And now, damn, that was a fiddly transformation. I don't like doing that. A lot of tight clearances and that, which to the KO company's credit, they have managed to keep the transformation pretty much the same as the official. When I transformed them both, I didn't feel like one was more difficult than the other. The clearances, the tolerances, all of those sorts of things all seemed about the same to me. With one exception, and that is the plastic on these forearms. It is incredibly brittle. It is incredibly thin. Listen to this. It just sounds brittle. It just sounds really thin. I've already seen one or maybe two photos of people who have snapped this hinge already, because that is a very tight joint. Very tight joint. It's tight on the Takara as well, but this plastic here is just so inferior. You just take your time with that, is what I'm saying. That was probably the only problem I had transforming it, so I'm pretty happy with that so far. Now, we'll start off with the paint, because paint-wise, this thing in bot mode is the same, or if not worse, than vehicle mode. No, I'm going to say about the same. Up here on the shoulders, we've just got pooling yellow paint over black that just has not been done well at all. The yellow in the ears isn't too bad. A little bit of pooling, I think it's passable. Like you would have seen in all the photos, the logo's crooked. I've got a chip in mine as well, but the logo is crooked, which is a little bit of a shame. I'm told that you can rub that off. This yellow panel is painted as well, so if you're going to rub that off, you probably want to rub the entire panel, or maybe you can get away with putting a sticker over it. I don't know. On the fake windshield, the clear plastic does look good, but I've got yellow paint just all over the place, all over the windshield itself, all out of the lines and that, so it looks pretty poor. And as you're probably noticing, it is loosey-goosey. This is just moving all over the place every time I touch it. The Takara, nah, pretty much rock solid. A little bit disappointing, just, yeah. Anyway, same deal with the yellow paint up here on the shoulder. This upper bicep is painted, the elbow isn't. I do have a defect in my elbow, as you can see. The plastic hasn't completed the mold properly. Look at that. Kind of looks like a pair of lips squeezing through. The other inside elbow is fine. This one just didn't form properly. Paint on the hands is alright, although I've got giant sprue marks on that hand, and that hand I just got a big cut. Paint in the crotch area and on these flaps is fine. Paint on the thighs is good. Look at that, no scratches, it's not fuzzy, nothing. They did the thighs really well. Good on them. When I was transforming it, these two sections here are meant to slide down and fold over. I can't for the life of me get that slider to actually work. These two panels just will not budge. So that's what it's meant to look like. Could just be mine, could be, yeah, I don't know. Frustrating nonetheless. Paint on the shins is done, yeah, done nice. One little chip there, that's no big deal. Anyway, okay, on to articulation. Now the head up and down is pretty good, and the side is stupidly stiff. Stupidly stiff. Got the butterfly, which is nice and tight, and then we have the out on the same butterfly hinge, which is good. All the way around, nice and tight on both sides. The upper bicep swivel is tighter than the butterfly hinge, which is nice. The elbows are fine, except for this one, which didn't form properly, is a little bit loose. Where I will give this KO some great credit is in the hips and the knees. They've done a great job with the ratchets. So we've got the forward ratchet, a little bit squeaky, but also still nice and loud. all the way back, and then we've got the friction out and the upper thigh swivel, which isn't too tight, not too loose, does make it quite easy to manipulate. Other side is just as good. Takara does have a stronger ratchet, but it is much quieter. Bit of a squeak in that one too. So there you go. Knees are nice and loud. Very tight going back. Same on the other side. Very good, happy with them. The feet are nice and stiff as well. You got your forward and back, which is nice and stiff. The rocker, nice and stiff. And the same with this heel spur, that's not going anywhere. Look, it's the same on both sides. So hips down, good. That bloody chest piece, bloody hell. Do still have the waist swivel, although it is impeded design wise by how I've got this. I'm probably meant to rotate them around the other way, but whatever, I don't care. It's still got the ab crunch, but it is super loose. But it is just a screw, so I could probably just tighten that and solve that problem. Alrighty, well I think that I've covered absolutely everything, so let's go on to some final thoughts. So is it worth it and should you buy it? This time, unfortunately, I'm going to say no. I'm not happy with my purchase. That's not to say that there is nothing good about this. The skeleton of it, the bones of it, was quite good. Hips, knees, ankles, excellent. Arms were pretty good as well. Bot mode, all held together reasonably well. Some of the backpack I couldn't transform at all. The ab crunch was quite loose. But overall, arms and legs, head, all of that, really stiff, really good pose as well. Paint, however, is absolute garbage, and the Takara is covered almost head to toe in paint. So it was a tall order for the KO company to knock this off. I think they've skimmed on too many places. Every panel has a different color yellow on it. You can get away with that in bot mode. It kind of looks okay. In vehicle mode though, for me, that was a complete write-off. Vehicle mode looked like arse, wouldn't tap together properly. There's flash on it, there's sprue mud. Yeah, vehicle mode was a write-off. On the plus side, the chrome was done excellent. The sculpt work is still pretty good. Slight softnesses in the face, but apart from that, it was all one-to-one. And having said all that, just remember that Takara box KOs are a high-stakes gamble. Yours might be perfect, yours might be worse. Who knows? Buy one and find out. And that's it. Now, if you enjoyed this video and you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe to my channel. Remember to check out my Facebook for daily news and updates on KO and third-party stuff. Have Twitter and Instagram now, so go check them out. And as always, guys, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for watching.